Read About It with your host, BJ Williams.
We have a great show for you today, including Susan Myers, who will be telling us about her new book, Callie and the Stepmother. First, Phil Talbert will be talking with Doug Benton about a great book that you can check out at your library.
Hey everybody, I'm here today with my oldest friend in the library system, and I don't mean by years. Well, yeah, I mean we're both pushing it here. Phil and I were in library school together. This is Phil Talbert. He's the manager of the Capitol Hill Library. Phil always finds some of the most unusual things to bring in, and he has brought in a book today that has one of the best titles I've ever seen. What is it?
Well, the title of the book is Job Interview Tips for People with Not So Hot Backgrounds. That's about as clear as it can get.
That is pretty straightforward.
Yep.
There, not so hot backgrounds.
Absolutely.
So if you have to go in for a job interview and you're still wearing the handcuffs,
You might want
this is the book you want to
This
look
is going to
at
be the book
first.
to help you to get through that process. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I assume that that's what it is then.
Yes.
It's a job interview book.
Yes. It sort of gives you an opportunity to look at yourself and what issues you may have had in your past that might be a problem. What they call red flags is what they call them in the book. And the idea is to be able to utilize all of your interview skills and learning about the company that you might want to go to see if you can get employed there, and work with those people and talk with them about your background and some of the issues that you might have had to deal with, but focusing on how you have tried to come through those issues and make your life better, which will then enable them to look at you in a different light, hopefully being able to see some possible potential, and if they can sense that you maybe have an idea that you're going to be able to do a good job for that employer, you might be more in line to get the job.
It sounds actually like a book anybody who's
I
going
think
in
so.
for a job interview would want to look at.
Right.
Maybe it helps you find out some things about yourself.
Yes.
Even if your background is hot,
Yes,
rather
yes.
than not so hot.
That's right.
Are there special features to the book that?
Well, first, one of the things it gives you is a list of possible questions that you might have to deal with, about 101 questions on different categories, and kind of gives you an idea of how to prepare for those questions and what to say, and you can give yourself a chance to use a recorder of some type to record your responses to those questions. So that'd be a good feature. And then there's some things to avoid as well, about 35 of those kinds of things to stay away from. And if they ask you those questions, how to be prepared to answer them, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is just one of many books that the library has
Yes.
on job preparation.
Numerous books, not only on job preparation, but on career planning, things of GED books, and then, of course, resume planning and preparation, cover letter books, things like that. Yeah, look, quite a bit in the materials in the library.
Again, the book is, what is it called now?
Job Interview Tips for People with Not So Hot Backgrounds.
Very honest approach.
Yes.
Phil Talbert's been with us, and you've been with us, and thank you very much.
Well, Doug and I are here, and that means that I get to tell Doug what I've been reading recently.
I'm all ears.
Oh, really?
Well, not all ears. I got a lot of stomach here, too, but
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, the first book is Rustic Garden Projects. It is by Don King, and it's a little instruction manual on how to build things out of twigs and tree limbs and that sort of stuff.
Oh.
Well, now it starts small. There's a little shelf you can build. There are lots of trellises and plant supports that are in here. The directions are very clear. There's an introductory section on what tools you might need and how to work with the tree limbs and that sort of thing. I would suggest that your main problem is going to find enough twigs and branches to build an entire settee.
Yeah, yeah, I would think so, yeah.
For most of us, we don't have a woods that we can wander in and find the right things. But there are, as I said, some really nice plant supports and some little garden shelves and so on that if you do have some wood available, might be kind of a neat thing to do and something fun to do early in the morning here in Oklahoma in the summer, not in the afternoon.
Does it explain how to shape the wood and that
Yes,
kind of thing?
it does. So if you have not made furniture before, I would not suggest tackling the settee and the chairs. But the shelves, the garden supports and that sort of thing are pretty simple. The instructions are very clear, and if you've got a drill and a hammer and a saw, then I think you can have a lot of fun with this
Oh, okay.
and really make your summer kind of pretty. The next book is Planting by Number. I would suggest that you need to know something about gardening before you use this book, because
We're in the intermediate stage for both of these,
right.
at least.
This is more how to design your garden, and it's more of a, this is how these gardens were designed. It doesn't get too much into principle on this sort of thing. But you're going to need to know, will these plants do well in Oklahoma?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, we have very hot summers, and latterly they've been very, very dry. So I would take that into mind. But if you would like to know how to arrange an herb garden, or what's the best way to set up a vegetable plot, or you're looking for inspiration for plants to kind of spice up your front yard or something, take a look at Plants by Number. It will give you some ideas. It does have plant lists. Just be sure that these plants will indeed survive in Oklahoma. If you can't, the tip is, if you can't find them in a local nursery, don't
Forget it.
forget it. And very briefly, you can wear it again. This is just a fun book. It's a collection of pictures of bridesmaids for the past 50 or 60 years. And as the book says, every bride has assured every bridesmaid, you can wear it again. And every bridesmaid has demonstrated the depth of her friendship by wearing it once. So you can wear it again, but you can find all of these books at your library and enjoy them. Even just for looking through, entertainment, you know,
Yeah.
summer reading. Coming up next, MJ Van Deventer of the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum will be talking with Jean Hoffman-Smith, Masters of Social Work counselor, about a book she has just read.
Jeannie, welcome back to Read About It.
Thank you, MJ. I'm glad to be here.
You're going to talk about a book titled Exuberance, and that's a word that we don't hear too often.
We really don't. You know, we'll use the word enthusiasm a lot, and energy, and optimism, and things like that. But exuberance, I think, it's one of those words that sounds like what it is. You know what they call it, onomatopoeia or something?
Yeah,
like
something like that.
Uh-huh.
And the lady who wrote this book really has a bit of a troubled background.
Yes, she does. Kay Redfield Jamison, who wrote the book, is a manic depressive, and I think that she has conquered her demons through some very good therapy and medication. She is a psychiatrist now who is one of the heads of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins, and I just think that that's very encouraging to the many people that suffer with manic depression, to know that someone can, with correct treatment, be able to become such a productive citizen. And she has tamed the manicness into this exuberance, which she writes about Teddy Roosevelt and John Muir, the man with the trees in California, and the Mr. Bentley who did pictures of all the snowflakes. He's done these thousands of snowflakes.
Oh my goodness.
It's a fascinating thing. So for her, it's finding something that you feel passionate about, and then following your threads of passion and getting more and more excited about it and noticing all the wonderful things. She believes that exuberance is something that you're born with, and that the environment can enhance the development of it.
And she talks a lot about joy in this
Yes.
book. That I noticed that was kind of a recurring theme throughout the book.
It
was
is.
joy and how to achieve it.
It is.
So what can we learn from her?
Well, I think that we can learn to start noticing all the beauty around us. To me, that we have many things in our world to make us feel exuberant, just in the looking of them and experiencing them, and particularly in relationships with other people.
So it's not just joy in nature, it's joy in people
It's
too.
joy in people, right, and in books you read.
Mhm.
You get a lot of joy from the books you read, and this is a book that gives you particular joy, I think.
And what would you suggest, what's the main thing that we can take away from this book?
I just think the fact that everyone is born with the capacity for exuberance, and that it needs to be stimulated by the environment, that parents need to understand that every time they smile at their infant, that this gives a sense of joy to the child. People sometimes don't realize how much we take in from other people, so that our own joy then is infectious, sort of.
So even the smallest gift can lead to exuberance.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for sharing this book with us.
Well, I loved being here.
And come again.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
Doug and I are back, and it looks like Doug has been challenging his intellect a little bit more than I've been with my books.
Well, that may be. I don't know. I read a book this week called The Captured. It's by Scott Zesch, who is a Texas writer. And the book is subtitled A True Story of Abduction by Indians on the Texas Frontier, which is a little misleading because it's not just one story. But it began when Zesch discovered on some old family land a grave marker. And it was his great-great-uncle's grave, a man named Adolph Korn, K-O-R-N, and who had been abducted by Comanche Indians when he was a boy. And the stories, all the stories in the book are of young people who were from the German immigrant population in the Texas Hill Country who were kidnapped by the Indians. It's a fascinating book to me. I mean, it's really a book that changed the way I look at that whole phenomenon of the white Indian, which is a phrase they use because it was current in the 19th century.
Well, it's certainly a real genre of writing in the 19th century.
Oh yeah, a lot of these people, you know, they were published as memoirs. They were probably ghost written by the local newspaper editor who put in a lot of florid prose and sensationalized a lot of the adventures of these people. But the thing that was surprising was that so many of these kids did not want to go back to white society, and some of them had been held in captivity for a number of years, but some were just gone for a few months, and they still didn't want to go back. And Zesch says that part of the reason for that was that the German families did not hate the Indians and look down on the Indians. These kids had not been raised in an atmosphere of, oh, they're red savages, they're brutal. If you're not careful, I'm going to give you to the Indians, you know, that kind of stuff. But the Indians were considered by the Germans to be honorable people who were just fighting for their land. Now, they didn't stop the Germans from moving into the land, although they usually thought they had a treaty with the Comanche Nation, when in fact they may have signed a treaty with this local group over here. And as far as the Indians were concerned, that was it. That's all they knew. But some of the stories are interesting, and he follows the cases through adulthood. All these people were, of course, returned, or I guess they wouldn't have been any story to them. Only one of the captives actually became successful in white society. He was the one who had been held the longest, by the way, 12 years. He lived with Quanah Parker and his family for many years at Fort Sill. But most of them were not successful. Some were very outgoing and wanted to tell their stories and became very popular. And others, like this man's relative, Adolph Korn, who actually lived in a cave for a while because he just couldn't fit in. It's really an interesting book. It's The Captured by Scott Zesch, that's Z-E-S-C-H.
Sounds great.
It is. It's available in paperback at bookstores, and the library has it too.
Great. Thanks, Doug. Coming up next, we have Kids Corner. Heidi Johnson will be talking with Kelly Rhea about some books for our very youngest readers.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. Today, Heidi Johnson from Tech Processing is here, and she's brought fabulous books, as she always does. And this one is especially incredible for me today, as I haven't been in the very best mood. This one's called Incredible You. It's by Dr. Wayne Dyer, who has written a lot of adult books, and finally he's written a children's book. Tell me about this book.
Well, basically in the foreword, he does talk about that he took the ideas from his adult book and translated them for very young audience. He says it's never too early to start teaching your children that they have everything that they need for a happy, good life already within themselves. They just need to find a way to bring it out, make the best of what was given to them. And he basically gives you 10 different points that you can work on. Like it talks about there is good within you and within everybody else. You just need to make sure you bring it out, give it a chance to let it come out. He talks about not letting other people, through their actions or words, hurt you, to make sure you take care of yourself. And so he's really given very small children very good tools to work with and prepare them for the life ahead.
Well, you know, books are a fabulous way for parents to approach any kind of topic. It's a great way to open up the conversation.
Correct.
And, you know, when you're reading through a book, you don't have to just speed through every page. Stop and discuss.
You can stop, discuss, make up your own stories to go along with the pictures. Also in the very back, there are some questions that you can ask your child afterwards. How do you deal with that situation? What do you do in a situation like that? And so it really should make the children feel like it's a book written just for them.
But for us big kids, this would work too.
Yes, it would.
It sure
the
would.
message is still valid.
It's called Incredible You. It's by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and we hope that you'll find it. We have another one.
We have another one.
It's called Walk On.
Walk On, A Guide for Babies of All Ages
And
by
it's-
Marla Frazee.
Marla Frazee.
And this is sort of a life guide, a walking guide. How do you learn to walk?
Oh.
And it starts out, are you bored sitting just on your diapers all day long? Are you ready to take that first big step? And it tells you things you need to be aware of. Don't try to pull fragile things and
so
pull yourself
you could
up.
read it to little babies as you will want to help them with emergent literacy, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Well, we'll have to talk more about this when we're off camera. Thank you for coming today, Heidi.
welcome.
The second book is called Walk On. It's by Marla Frazee, and we hope you'll find it at your local bookstore or at your favorite library.
With me now is Susan Meyer. She's an Oklahoma writer. She's had a number of short stories published. This is her first chapter book, and it is called Callie and the Stepmother. And what inspired you to write about wicked stepmothers?
I used to work for a daycare, and I would read the 5-year-old stories. And one day I read Cinderella, and I asked them what they thought of the book, and one little boy raised his hand and he said, "Stepmothers are evil." And I thought, what would happen if a child had read all the fairy tales and really thought all stepmothers were evil, and then she got one? And that's what Callie and the Stepmother is about.
Well, now, Callie is a young girl whose daddy is, I got the impression he was a truck driver.
Yes.
And he's found a new lady love, and she's even comes equipped with wicked stepsister.
Yes. Yes. She has to not only deal with a new stepmother who she knows in her heart is evil, but she has to share a room with her new stepsister who isn't real thrilled about sharing a room with a younger child. And then she's also got a stepbrother. So it's quite a bit of difference for Callie. And she's just waiting for the next shoe to drop. She's waiting to have to go up and live in the attic or clean the fireplace out or do all the chores, all the things that she knows the stepchildren have to do.
Well, I noticed you were very good at portraying her having nightmares once she was with the new stepmother and her daddy had to go on a trip. There she's left all alone, and she's having nightmares. I thought the best one was when she had to keep cleaning the fireplace.
Over and over, and it never got clean.
And lo and behold, the next morning her stepmother announces the fireplace needs to be cleaned.
And she knows exactly who's going to have to clean it.
Well, it doesn't have the bad ending.
No, stepmothers come out very good in this. It's a story about not judging people and getting to know people and not believing the fairy tales. You know, they're fantasy, they're fiction, And there are a lot of good step families out there, and that's what I wanted to portray.
Well, it sounds to me like Callie made great strides with her stepmother. I suspect there are going to be problems with the 12-year-old stepsister.
Yeah, that's a little different, but you know, all older sisters, I'm an older sister, and having a younger sister, whether it comes in by remarriage or sometimes I was 6.5 when my sister was born, and that was a big adjustment. All of a sudden I was sharing my room with an infant. So a new child's always a big adjustment, and that's just a little bit harder when it's a stepchild and you're not coming in as a baby, you're coming in with full personalities.
Well, and a whole different way of doing things.
Right.
You have different favorite foods, and you probably get up at a different time of the day. And as you said, all of a sudden, both Callie and her stepsister have to share a room, and it's obvious neither one has ever done that. So
that's right.
I can see that there are some real problems there. Now, this is a chapter book. For those of us who don't know anything about writing for children, what is a chapter book?
This is actually an early chapter book, which means it's for readers about 2nd or 3rd grade who are going out of the picture books and they are wanting to read chapter books, but they're not quite ready for the middle age, the middle grade books yet. This is just kind of getting their feet wet in it. It's very needed, very needed. There are not a lot of early chapter books out there. They're beginning to be more, but it's still an area, if you want to write, that's an area you need to look at because it's one that's really needed. It's got short chapters, short sentences, really for, like I said, past the emergent reader, but needing something a little bit more.
So, for somebody who's conquered C Spot Run, and needs something entertaining, a reason to read, really.
Right. And a little bit more of a challenge. I work in a library. I'm a library aide, and I'll get the little ones that come in, and they want to read the chapter books because that's what the big kids read. And their teachers are telling them, no, you're not ready for chapter books yet. So this is the bridge to make them feel a little bit bigger, to give them a little bit more of a challenge till they're ready for the Junie B. Jones and just a little bit bigger, and then going into the Boxcar Kids and just kind of stepping stones.
Right. Well, and this is a topic that I'm sure most kids have dealt with, whether in their own situation or they know somebody who's got, I've got a new stepmother, what's going to happen to me, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And so I imagine that it must be a little bit difficult to come up with topics that will relate to children in their lives, and yet do, as I think you have very successfully done, put it in small sentences that kids can understand, and so that they can relate it to their lives and learn a little bit and really not feel overwhelmed by it.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people look at it and say, well, that's a very short book, that must have been easy to write. But when you have to take out a lot of words and put it in simple words, but not make it simplistic, because you never want to talk down to a child.
Right.
And they want to read something that's interesting. They don't want something that's boring. So you have a balance you have to make there. And I hope I did it. I think I did it.
Well, I did not feel in any way that it was talking down. I thought it was an interesting story that sort of drew you along what is going to happen to Callie the next day. I wasn't quite expecting her to have to sleep in the attic, but there was enough there to keep me going on with that. And I think that is the most important thing a writer can do, is never look down on your readers.
Right.
You have to respect your readers, whether they are 7 years old or 77 years old.
Absolutely.
So, now, do you have a new book coming out?
I do. Callie is from Blooming Tree Press, a small press in Texas, wonderful press, and they are going to do my next book, which is called The Princess and the Pea, and that's P-E-E. It's about a little princess who wants to sleep on the top bunk, but her sister won't share with her, trade places with her, until she stops wetting the bed.
Yes.
So she thinks of all different kinds of things she can do to wake herself up at night so she doesn't wet the bed. I also have a story coming out. Blooming Tree's got an anthology coming out called Summer Shorts. It's coming out this summer, and it's called Do Monsters Go to the Bathroom?
I've always wondered about that.
Well, you can get Summer Shorts and you can read and you can find out.
Okay. Well, that sounds really great. And I want to thank you so much for being with us, Susan. And
Thank you for having me.
Talking about Callie and the stepmother. Now you have a website that people can go to find out about the book and
Yes.
also about your upcoming books as well. And Best of Books in Edmond, I understand, is
Yes,
carrying
Best
the
of
book.
Books has them, and I've got some pre-signed ones there. So if you go to Best of Books, you can get a signed copy of Callie.
That sounds great. Thanks so much, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
Doug and I are back. We don't have any books. That means it's Writers'
Almanac time. I'll tell you about a couple of writers who were born this week. On June 13th in 1752 was the birthday of the novelist Fanny Burney. Now, I know a lot of people are going, what? What's that? Burney created the novel of manners, in which a young, innocent girl has adventures in a more sophisticated surrounding. She's a forerunner of Jane Austen, so if you're a fan of Jane Austen, you might want to go back and find something by Burney. June 14th is the birthday of Harriet Beecher Stowe, whose novel is a little bit more well-known than Burney's today. She, of course, wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, and she's the woman about whom Lincoln said, so this is the little lady who started this big war.
Right. Well, and going right on, June 15th, 1215, another piece of writing was memorialized. It was called the Magna Carta, signed by King John was forced to sign it by a number of his nobles. And the essence of Magna Carta doesn't have to do with barrels or rights of inheritance, but the fact that even the king has to follow the law. And in that regard, the foundation of both English and American government. And you can find out all about all of these things at your library and on our website, www.metrolibrary.org. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.